Switch Radio Sport. This is Switch.
Worcester City win that game and they will be in Division 1 Midlands next season.
Chance in Paul Job's got a chance in the penalty, gets shot in and goes to the back of the net, and Cheyenne Jarvis gets the second goal for Leaford Athletic this afternoon, found space in the 6-yard box.
Back to the edge of the penalty area with the pass, crossing towards the back post, headed goalwards and in!
That's a great shot from De Castro! Oh, what a save for Gray! And Winkin 2-0!
Stourbridge have won the Division 1 Midlands title.
The Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio.
Good evening, welcome along to this week's Women's Football Chat. My name is Chris Gadsby. I'm here every week bringing you the very latest from the third and fourth tiers of women's football here in England. That's the FA Women's National League, and the season starts next week. We are now just 10 days away from the start of the 25-26 season, and the fixtures come thick and fast with a full programme on the opening day, then those first group games throughout the next week, and then we go straight back into league as well. So 3 games in 8 days for all of the 72 FA WNL sides, plus of course there's those 16 PGA sides that are joining in the cup competitions as well. So next week we're back with our full season preview and going back to looking ahead at the fixtures. We'll run through all those opening day fixtures, all of those cup fixtures as well. So this is the last kind of summer week really for the Women's Football Chat ahead of what is season 5 of the show. We've got a bit of news to go through and a little bit of discussion as well. So we're going to start with probably the most kind of significant breaking news from the last 7 days. It actually came out yesterday as you are watching this, and that is AFC Bournemouth confirming that Steve Cuss has stepped down from his role as manager of AFC Bournemouth Women. He has played an integral role in the development of the women's programme at the club, they say, overseeing a period of significant progress and laying the foundations for future successes. They had a record-breaking season last year. They went undefeated. They won the plate as well. And he has been so instrumental for helping Bournemouth progress, but he has decided to step down as the women's team manager just 11 days as this was announced before the start of the season. Doesn't mean, of course, that the club were told and the decision was taken just 11 days ago. That's just when it came out. But Bournemouth losing their manager right before the start of the season, right when they're about to go into a new league, and with all the extra pressures that Tier 3 brings along, much further travel, having to have probably more contact time to stay competitive within that league. And so he's staying on at the club within his role at the Community Sports Trust, and essentially the pressures of Tier 3, the time pressures rather than the mental ones, are concern him that he's going to have to spend too much time away from the Community Sports Trust. Has decided to step down as the women's team manager. So we'll keep an eye on what Bournemouth do there. And then the other news, we've had a change in manager at Bristol Rovers, Blackburn Rovers rather, with James Mallet agreeing to become the new head coach of Blackburn Rovers Women. He has UEFA A and Elite Youth A qualifications and has 17 years of experience. He's had roles at numerous women's clubs, including head coach Accrington Stanley, Fylde, Blackburn Community. He started at the Blackburn Rovers Centre of Excellence when he was just 16 as well. He says it's a job that he wanted years ago, and now regardless of the opportunity, how the opportunity has come about, I'm incredibly proud to say I'm going to be Blackburn Rovers Women's head coach. My message to the fans is your support is needed more than ever this season. I'm aware our backs are against the ropes and there's going to have to be a quick turnaround in terms of building a squad, which is why we need that positivity around the place from the supporters and the players who will be joining. Ultimately, I know the support is there. I've seen the good and the bad. Hopefully the good shines through again going forward. What's happened has happened. I understand where it's left us, but we've got to bounce back from it, and I'm not nervous by that at all. I back my own ability. I've been successful at the last 3 women's clubs I've had with limited budget. The only thing I don't have now is time, but I'm relishing the opportunity. And if anyone can make this a success, he believes it's him. That was announced last Sunday, so 2 weeks before the start of the season. Blackburn have now started to register players on full time. So far, they've registered 8. Still, according to the FA kind of rules and handbook, that doesn't meet the limit. Had to have a squad of 11 on before, 2 weeks before the start of the season, which hasn't happened, but it's also not happened for a few other clubs as well. And full time isn't always instant in terms of getting a registered player up onto their system. So it might be that that's just a system error rather than anything the club has done incorrectly. But said, we are now getting ever closer to the start of the season. It'll be interesting to see how Blackburn cope. Is there any pressure on them? Is there any expectation on the club at all, having had to drop down 2 divisions? You could argue perhaps not. I don't think anyone's really expecting them to shoot to the top of tier 4. So it might be a case of just having a season of consolidation and trying to settle the club down again. Of course, this season, with the way that the cup is being done and having these group games, there is no kind of respite, no easing into the season. As I said earlier in the show, it's 3 games in 8 days. You've got to be there. The fitness has got to be right up there at the start, because otherwise you're going to get found out pretty quickly. And as we all know in these leagues, the league winners very often only drop 9, 10, maybe a dozen points in a season. If you go and lose the first 2 games of your season, you're going to have to be pretty much perfect for the remaining 20 to get up there and have a contest towards the end of the season. So it'll be interesting to see what James Mallett can do at Blackburn Rovers, and we'll keep an eye on them with great interest. Now, let's go through and go to Division 1 Midlands, because we've got another interview for you, the last of these kind of big summer interviews for you this season, because as I said, we're going to go straight back into all of the results, the tables, the fixtures, and that's going to take up a lot of the shows from now on. But we are expanding Switch Sport ever more, and there will be plenty of interviews and highlights going out as well, and not just from the Midlands region as well. If you're anywhere in the country and you want to get your club's interviews to a slightly wider audience, if you've got some highlights you want to show as well, then send them across and we'll get them onto the Women's Football Chat. Yes, we're limited to an hour on Switch Radio for the radio version, but for the YouTube version, if we get 36 lots of highlights and the show's 4 hours long, then we get 36 lots of highlights and the show's 4 hours long. So, interestingly, slight tangent on highlights, I put out a few weeks ago a survey asking for clubs to get in touch about whether they would need new equipment and if they had everything set up ready to do this mandatory filming. And every club that responded said, yeah, we've got everything ready. We've not had to buy anything new. We like the fact the new rule's in, and we would love to see a highlights show. So I think that's where the FA needs to go now. If they've got this central system for uploading all of the games, let's get a highlight show together. Let's get it and get the FA Women's National League out to a wider audience. But away from that, into Division 1 Midlands. Of course, Switch Sport will be covering a lot of Division 1 Midlands again next season. So here for you, our final kind of big summer interview with Sutton Coldfield Town. This is the women's captain Charlotte Worth and defender Ellie Bruton talking to Kevin Moore and Josh Piavenza.
Okay, join us on Switchboard. We've got two members of Sutton Coldfield Town women, Charlotte Worth and Ellie Bruton. Charlotte, Ellie, welcome back to Switchboard. It's great to catch up with you both. Here we are edging ever closer to the start of the National League season. Charlotte, let's talk with you first. When you got announced that you were approached to take the role as first team captain, were you shocked, surprised, elated? How did you feel?
Yeah, I was shocked, to be fair. At the time, I wasn't even at Sutton, I was at Burton. I went on a dual signing. But I spoke to Harry to see what he could offer for me to come back. And yeah, he offered me captain. And I think to captain any team is an honour. But to come back to Sutton, a team that I actually had a lot of respect for, a lot of love for, it was massive for me. And I think at my age, to captain a team at National League, I think it's something I had to snap up and had to take the chance of. I've
got to say, when you say at my age, it does make me smile because, you don't want to be my age, goodness me, you don't want that. But I know it's early days, Charlotte, but you'll have your own take, your own stamp on it. No doubt you and Harry have had a conversation where you say what sort of captain you think you want to be for the club. But what sort of captain do you want to be? Some captains are natural leaders. Yep. Some captains want to step back and say, look, I'm here to come speak to you, you've got any problems on and off the pitch. Yeah. What is going to be your take as being a captain from your point of view?
I'm going to push the girls. We need to, on the pitch, we need to thrive, and I think we've got the ability for them to do that too. If I feel like they're not performing, they're going to be told. But also off the pitch, I want to be someone that they can come to. If they're struggling, can't speak to Harry, for example, for any reason, come to me. Come to me, I'm more than happy to chat to you. But most importantly, I want to make sure that the girls are all happy all the time. I know obviously that's not possible all the time, but as long as they're enjoying their football, for me, that's the main thing, and that's what I want to do for them.
On a personal level, as you said, you've now been approached as the captain for Sutton, but for the forthcoming season, what are your personal aspirations and goals that you're looking forward to?
I'd like to get through the whole season without getting an injury, that'd be quite nice. But most importantly, I think, again, like I say, I want to make sure everybody's on the same page, happy, because I think we'll perform better on that respect. This season's got to be a fresh start. We've got a lot of new fresh faces, a lot of new fresh staff as well. I just feel like it's the time to push. We've got to push now.
On that, you mentioned the new players. Is there anyone that you think so far has brought any particular strengths and depths to the squad? And
absolutely.
How they can help improve?
Yeah, we've made quite a few signings. Chloe Bickley, she's going to be massive for us this season. She's very composed on the ball, off the ball. She holds the midfield very well. I think she will be somebody that will be really important for us this season. There's a few others that we obviously haven't promoted yet on social media, which I believe will really thrive. But yeah, I think all of them will bring some sort of characteristics and some sort of strength, and we are a young squad, but I don't think that's going to affect us in any form or any shape. We'll do well.
Your thoughts on the division, actually, Charlotte? It's a very strong league, Division 1 Midlands, Tier 4. It's getting stronger every year, let's be fair about this. A lot of local derbies. The fans will be ground hopping, watching all the local derbies throughout the course of the season as well. I know the fans are looking forward to the amount of local teams that are taking place in this division as well. I know it's early days, but you know yourself, a lot of clubs strengthen on off the pitch, don't they, in more ways than we probably sometimes realise as well. But it's going to be a strong division. What's your thoughts on the division this season? Do you think it's going to be probably the toughest and strongest Tier 4 ever?
I believe so. Me and Elle were having this conversation the other day that even the difference between Tier 4 and Tier 5 is so close now.
It's getting closer, isn't it?
It's ridiculously close. Like, the ability that women's football have now is crazy. But yeah, I believe this league's going to be really tight this season. I think last season it was quite tight. There was a bit at the bottom that were obviously a little bit further away than the top. But I believe this year, because I've seen quite a few signings from other clubs, I think everybody wants to push this season, don't they?
Absolutely. And Ellie, welcome to Switch Sports. Good to have you with us today before the start of the season. Charlotte's made the point there about, it's a new team, a young team as well. Players on board, players will be coming on board in the coming weeks, obviously. Your thoughts on the squad at the moment, and which players you're looking forward to play alongside at the moment? I know you can't reveal too many names at the moment, but for your point of view, it's a young squad as we know anyway, Ellie, but how's it going in terms of like the playing side of things and also the tactics you're learning with the new coaches as well? How's that going at the moment? How's it all going for you? And now you're settling in at Sutton.
Yeah, I think this season the start of this season's been quite tough with a lot of new faces, that's players and coaching staff, but I think everyone's settled in now quite well. Obviously myself, I'm injured at the minute, probably won't see much of this season anyway, but when I'm back, hopefully, I am looking forward to playing with Chloe. Like Charlotte said, I think she's a very good player and she's composed, and I think she suits the way that Harry wants to play as well. So
Harry is now the new head coach of Sutton. Is there anything you noticed, Ellie, although injured at the moment, that he's trying to implement with the players and different coaching styles he might try and bring in as well?
Yeah, I think even though Harry's young, he's had a lot of experience at good clubs with good managers, and I think that's helped him. He wants to play football at the end of the day. He doesn't want to be a team where from A to B trying and scoring. He does want to play through the thirds, and I think that suits a lot of the players that we have brought in. In terms of how he's quite calm, but I think he's just trying to instill a happy place for everyone to be at, and I think that's key at the minute, especially here, and he's doing that very well.
FA National League plate, Cup plate, thoughts on the restructure?
Obviously, I don't know too much about it in terms of why things have changed, but I think it'll benefit us being able to play in that playoff with the 3 other teams that we've got. It's just going to give us more game time and against good clubs, so I think it'll benefit us.
Just that point actually, Ellie, about the National League Cup and the play, it does give an opportunity for the academy players to get some proper competitive football. I spoke to other managers locally about this point as well, and you may be aware, but in non-league football, when there's competitions like the Birmingham Senior Cup and Staffordshire Cup, what they do, the local non-league teams play like your Villa under-21s, your Birmingham Cities or your Stokes or your Albions or Wolves. Do you think, more of a long-term thinker, do you think that's the sort of thing National League want to do? They want to sort of replicate that and give these academy players, like, you're going to play some competitive games here before Christmas. That's important though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think academy football is very good, but I think the difference between academy football and women's football is quite big, and I think some of the girls that have come here this season have seen that. I think it will benefit both sides. I think the academy football will be able to see what the women's structure is in obviously tier 4 at the minute, and we can also see what the academy looks like and how their setup is and how far we're off in terms of the pro teams. So yeah, I think it's beneficial for both sides.
And the fixtures this season then, are there any particular sort of games you're looking forward to? Everyone's got in their mind, I like that local derby on the horizon. Putting the spotter on, really, but there's not local derbies, but there must be some fixtures thinking, yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
I think, like you said earlier, it's becoming very Midland based now. There's a lot of rival teams in the league, so you likes of Boldmere, Leafield, Stourbridge, Kidminster, those sort of teams I think will be very good, and we know a lot of players some that have gone from Sutton from last season, so yeah, I think they'll be good games to watch.
So it will be feisty local affairs in a positive way though, because having local derbies is good for the sport though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and I think it brings more fans to the game, which again is beneficial for both sides.
General question for you both. With the Lionesses' success in the Euros, how do you both think people will be getting on? Would you think there'll be more women participating in sports, or do you certainly think that there'll be more schools setting up women's football teams?
Absolutely. Even when I first started football years ago, I first started in a boys' team. There was never a girls' team, and I think now for girls to go straight into girls' teams is so beneficial. Like for me, obviously it's probably made me the player I am for playing in lads' teams, do you know what I mean? But I think now it's so important to get girls starting together, get them in a team, get them ready. And it's even nice just to see girls wearing football shirts with women's surnames on. You never used to see that years ago, did you? And like, it's so good. And even the difference now between the leagues is, like you say, it's so close. It just shows the ability we've got now with the young children and how much they're enjoying it and how much they're actually going to games, because it used to be such a male prominent sport, didn't it? But yeah, it's so much better now.
Yeah, I think it will definitely help inspire more girls. My job outside of football is a teacher, so I do see it from a school point of view, and over the last few years the amount of girls that now want to be involved in football is huge, and when I was at school that was never a thing really. You had 2 or 3 in the whole school that wanted to play, and now you're getting a good 20-30 girls in each year group that want to be playing football, and I think how well Lionesses have just done, it will only inspire even more girls to be taking up football.
And on that point, in relation to that as well, I mean, it's quite interesting when you look at the spread of clubs in the country. If you look at the WSL, a lot of teams North, West and London focused. That's where tiers 3, 4 and 5 got a whole raft of clubs across the country. I hope that will have a knock-on effect, because, you know, it's great that the WSL will get more focus, but it's important at the same time that tiers 3, 4, 5 and below get some support going forward. What's your take on that?
I mean, it's important, isn't it? It's where the majority of let's say these Premier League players start. They all start in grassroots football, or obviously in academies, but grassroots is where everybody begins. It's where I believe the main support needs to be. It needs to be a grassroots football, and the help with obviously the Lionesses winning and stuff. I think it will push that.
We will see more support through the pyramid, and especially lower down, like you say, in tiers 3, 4, 5 and 6.
It's a knock-on effect though, isn't it, Ellie? Because, I mean, the grassroots thing now, the sort of the lower levels getting that support. I mean, simple things are important though, isn't it? Like being able to play on a 3G pitch at 3, 4 and 5, I mean, Sutton are a good example. Other teams like your Bournemouth, your Kelsers. It's important that simple thing of being able to have the facilities to play on is so important though, isn't it, Ellie?
Yeah, and I think even with the new structure of like tier 4 now, where there's potentially going to be 2 teams promoted and there's going to be the playoff, I think even there, like, it's giving teams towards the top end of tier 4 to have that opportunity to be going and really pushing on into tier 3, which is going to benefit many teams in this division.
Well, a big thank you there to Charlotte and Ellie for sitting down with Kevin and Josh and talking all things Sutton Coldfield Town ahead of the new season. They start a week on Sunday against Stourbridge and then take on Aston Villa Academy in the week. So 2 very tough games to get started. Stourbridge, of course, having just come down from the Northern Premier Division, and it's a bit of a Switch Sports derby there on the opening day of the season. Next week, then, we will be looking ahead to those opening round games in the 25-26 FAWNL season, and because they are all in midweek, we'll be looking at the first group games in the Cup and Plate competitions as well. So we've got 36 games to look at in the league, and then 44 games to look at in the opening round of the Cup. So 80 games to go through next week. So buckle up, because that will be a big one. Plus we might have another interview for you as well. But that will do it for this week's episode of the Women's Football Chat. We're back into the main swing of things next week. We're back next Thursday with all of the very latest from the FAWNL. Hopefully we won't have any more changes. That's the other thing to note. You'll notice on the graphics on this week's show, we have gone back to Lincoln United logo rather than Lincoln Women. We asked for clarification on this because some people have alluded to the fact that the club hadn't informed the FA by the AGM and everything like that. Asked for some clarification, and essentially because there wasn't a name change kind of put in for the AGM, you have to fill out forms and what have you, then they are being referred to as Lincoln United all season long. So we will emulate that on the show as well. So it's back to Lincoln United here on the Women's Football Chat. That then just makes sure it all stays consistent between ourselves, Switch Sport, the stuff that's getting put out from the FAWNL as well. But we'll be back next Thursday evening, 8 p.m, with all of the very latest from the 3rd and 4th tiers of women's football here in England, said with that big 80-game preview to start the season off. What a way to get it going. I'll be back next week. Thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.